They make it down the chow hall. Baby Charles get to looking around the cafeteria for Mr. Morgan, who slept in C dorm. They was already seated at the tables because C dorm was one of the first dorms that got called down for feed up. But anyway, he looking around, but he don't know they spotted him as soon as he came through the door. He's standing in the lunch line holding his food tray, and he spots Mr. Morgan sitting at the third row of tables, congregating with some old heads. When they made eye contact, Mr. Morgan pointed at another good brother named Fat Turtle, basically telling Baby Charles, look, he gonna holler at you, that's where you give it to. So as Baby Charles going through the line getting his food on his tray, Fat Turtle, who was a kitchen worker, walked up on him with a head net on his head and all white kitchen scrubs. Walked up on him and asked him, like, you got something for Unc? Looking around, making sure the COs wasn't looking, Baby Charles went over here, reaching his dip, got the gram of smack out, handed it to Fat Turtle, and told him, like, look, tell Unc that's a whole gremlin. He should be able to bag up about $1,500 off that. Now, that might sound far-fetched, or that might sound crazy to a person that never been in the Maryland prison system. But if you know, you know. A little match head worth of smack go for 20. So if you bagging up a gremlin, but anyway, so Fat Turtle tucked it off real quick. He told Baby Charles, like, I'm gonna tell him. Then he went back to acting like he wiping down the tables and cleaning up and shit. So Charles finished getting his food. He sit down with F dorm, because they put you in the raw tables depending on what dorm you in. That way, when you finish eating, you get up and leave with your dorm. So Charles, he's sitting down eating at the table with the other Muslim dude, Rafiki, that slept next to him in F dorm. Baby Charles keeping his eyes on Fat Turtle while he wiped down the tables. He watched him slide over to Mr. Morgan's table, slide him the goodie bag, which he quickly tucked away, and continued on his conversation with the other old gentleman at his table. So once Charles seen that bird land, he just sighed in relief. Felt like a weight got lifted off his shoulders. Leon and Nolan, however, got called for a surprise attorney visit right before feed up. They public defenders came to see them with some good news. Their appeal went through and they was granted a second trial due to the judge giving out fucked up jury instructions. It was just a technicality, but it was a major one. And their public defender advised them they probably gonna come with a better deal this time, better than the 50 years they offered them at first. Hearing that was like a breath of fresh air. To go from thinking you about to die in prison to this man telling you it's a possibility you could come home? It was mind-blowing. They both just broke down and hugged each other. Because in their case, the old saying was true. Tough times don't last, but tough niggas do. But anyway, the public defender let them know. As soon as the state's attorney come with the offer, he gonna drop whatever he doing, come right up here and let them know. They knew court date or whatever. They shook his hand and told him how much they appreciated him. When their attorney visit was over, a female officer came and locked both of them in a bullpen and told them they was going to have to eat bag lunches and wait for a transportation officer to take them back up to H-Dorm. But with the good news they just got, fuck that bag lunch. They wasn't even sweating that shit. Female officer that was working the visiting room that day and locked them in the bullpen personally knew Nolan and Tion from the streets. They went to Lake Clifton High School together. So she asked him, like, what y'all so happy about? Tion all excited, tell her, like, man, we just got an appeal. Brandon, for real. Niggas ready to be back. She blushed with that pretty smile and told them how happy she was for them. Because she knew how young they was when they got locked up. So she told them, good luck. Meanwhile, back in the cafeteria, the COs start sending dudes back to their dormitories. So how they do it, the officer come stand by your row of tables. It's rows of tables. Each row is a dorm. You got to wait for the officer to raise his hand for that row of tables to get up and leave. So boom, they send C-Dorm back first. Mr. Morgan and all the good brothers on C-Dorm, they make their exit. Baby Charles chit-chatting with Rafiki while they eating their food. Now, Rafiki was the only Muslim in the Sunni community that still talked and dealt with Baby Charles. After the Imam shunned him from the community, Rafiki took a liking to him. They slept next to each other in the dorm. Plus, Baby Charles was looking out for him, sliding them little noodles, chips, coffee, and stuff like that. And he didn't agree overall with Charles being shunned simply because he in the joint selling drugs. As far as Rafiki was concerned, he was in survival mode. Drastic times call for drastic measures. He ain't had nobody supporting him. What he supposed to starve? But anyway, so while they sitting there discussing how they feel as though they need a new Imam and how he shouldn't have made the decision to kick Baby Charles out of the senior community, the good brother Jasper is 2 tables over in a covert position, ear hustling. So when the officer lift his hand up and signal for that row of tables to go back to F-Dorm, Jasper stayed seated until baby Charles finished eating his food, dumped his tray in the trash, and left out the cafeteria. So they coming through the tunnel, walking and talking, making their way back to F-Dorm, with the good brother Jasper trailing no more than a few feet behind them. Now, when they finally reached the tier, Jasper knew in order for him to complete the mission properly, he would have to wait for baby Charles to open up his locker. And knowing that he only had a few minutes before the officers come on the tier and do count, he thinking like, damn, how can I get him to open his locker? So Jasper comes up with the idea to ask him, can he buy a few stamps and envelopes he was going to trade him for a bar of soap. So he goes in his locker and grabs a bar of Irish Spring. And he walks over to where baby Charles' bunk is and cut him off mid-conversation like, excuse me, sorry to disturb you, but I was wondering if you was trying to trade 2 stamps and 2 envelopes for a bar of soap. Knowing he ain't need that shit, he started to say, nah, I don't want that. But knowing that Jasper was a good brother, he figured looking out for him might be beneficial later on down the line. So he take the bar of soap and sit it on his bed, get to putting his combination in his lock. Whole time, Jasper got his other hand in his pocket, gripping tight on a 9-inch blade that he sharpened himself to perfection, a razor-sharp tip. But anyway, so Charles put in the combination, opened up the locker. When he reached in and grabbed his net bag, old head Jasper just grabbed him by the back of his shirt, whipped that motherfucking blade out, got to hitting him in his neck with that thing. Ow, ow, ow. Blood get to squirting like a sprinkler. He trying to pull away from him. Jasper hitting him on the back of his head, back of his neck, ripped his shirt completely off trying to get away. He trips over the bunk and falls in between the bunks and don't get up. But Rafiki yells out, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Rafiki get to swinging the plastic chair, trying to keep Jasper from hitting baby Charles again, because he was standing over top of him. He catch Jasper on the side of the face with the chair. Boom! This nigga ate that shit. He spun around like Jason with that knife. Bad Rafiki get to hit him. Rafiki pulls away and run to the door, holding his fucking chest. He leaking bad. All the Sunni Muslims on the tier that's looking confused, because they knew baby Charles wasn't even considered a Muslim no more, and Rafiki wasn't supposed to help him. So they don't know if they should jump in or not. The good brother Jasper quickly grabbed Charles' whole bag of envelopes, all his mail, took that shit over to his bunk area and started going through it. That's when all the other good brothers came over there and made a circle around Jasper. All the Muslims was looking confused and starting to come together. A gang of COs runs up on the tier, telling everybody, get on your bunk, get on your fucking bunk. It was so much blood by the door due to Rafiki standing there leaking out of his chest. One of the female officers that ran on the tier slipped and fell in his blood. They take and rush baby Charles and Rafiki down to the Cut hospital. But while they pushing these niggas on the gurneys through the hallway, Tion and Nolan is getting escorted back from the visiting room by a transportation officer. They rush baby Charles and Rafiki right past them. So when Tion and Nolan see this, they look at each other like, the fuck? Because they ain't know what the fuck was going on. Because the big brothers left them in the blind about the whole situation.